Hey everyone, Firestick Dave here. Welcome to the pub crawl with Hervey and Angry Phil. Guys, tonight what we're going to do is we're going to chat a little bit about what I call a fantasy update. That means an early season update, several weeks into the season. What do we think about what's happened so far, the booms, the bust, and what do you do about it? It's almost impossible to draft a perfect team. Point out someone who's ever done that. I've never met him. And then go ahead and let's figure out what you need to do about your players. And it's not just your players. Let's say that all your players are doing average to great. I'm a big believer that there's some really good players out there that have underperformed to this point. Gibbs, for example. Gibbs is a guy who I personally think I want to go out there and try to make a trade for him and go get him because I think he's going to be kicking it up.
Yeah.
So what do you guys think?
I don't know about Gibbs. Detroit really hyped him up and when they drafted him, and they've used him as much as the Bears have used Claypool.
So
I'm kidding. They used him a little bit more.
Gibbs will definitely get more targets than Claypool now, so now he's no longer on the team. But no, I like that, Dave, because I'm a big believer in drafting rookies, and you have some rookies like Justin Jefferson and Christian McCaffrey when he was drafted, and some other high-level rookies where from the get-go they just take off sailing.
Yeah.
But there's also some guys where it just takes a handful of games, a handful of halfway through the season to get going. Just two examples. I drafted Miles Sanders his rookie year, stashed him away. Didn't do nothing. He was getting like 5-6 touches a game. Boom, big second half of the season. I drafted, names leaving my mind, Rashad White last year. Stashed him. Fournette finally got hurt. Last 5-6 game, he had a big season. Early in the year when people were questioning Gibbs after 2 games, they showed a statistic that I saw where like Jonathan Taylor first 2 games only 13 touches.
Happens every year.
Every year they don't trust the rookies right away. So I think that's a good move. I think Gibbs is going to be able to have a very good second half of the season. I think I use him more of as a pass catcher.
Well, that's what they were selling him on too.
Yeah, but he's a rookie.
He is a rookie, yes.
And then the speed of the game is different, no matter if you played at Alabama or you played at a Division II school. The speed of the game is different when you go to the NFL. And teams, the NFL is so good at what they do is that they pick up tendencies on defenses or offenses where it's 3rd and 7. These are their 3, 4, 5 favorite routes. They see a formation. Boom, this is it. Oh, Gibbs is in on 3rd and 5. They're making sure somebody's following him. Mm-hmm. And they're going to be better with him. Ben Johnson's a great offensive coordinator.
You think so?
He's a great offensive coordinator.
Wait. I wanted to ask you this. This is off topic, though, but a lot of Bears fans are looking into future coaches right now. Yeah. Ben Johnson's name is right there, and I'm not really sure right now. I mean, yes, I'm watching Detroit. They look like a really solid team, but do you think he's a good offensive-minded coach?
See, the thing about him is offensive-minded coach, absolutely. Outside of Sean Payton,
Mike McDaniel,
who
came from Sean McVay.
Sean McVay. So I'm just going to use those for things. Outside of Sean McVay, Mike McDaniels, Kyle Shanahan, Sean Payton, Andy Reid, it's very, very hard to be head coach and be OC.
Yeah.
And being a rookie head coach.
We know that from Nagy.
We know that 100% from Nagy. Yes. So I'm not saying Ben Johnson can't do it.
Yeah.
His offensive mind is great. Detroit came out of nowhere. The LA Rams went to a Super Bowl with Jared Goff. And they said, you're not the guy. And they were right.
Yeah.
They got Matthew Stafford.
And they won.
And they won the Super Bowl. But Detroit got Jared Goff on the other end. And they got picks. Jared Goff, if you look at it, the last season and a half of football is a top 5 quarterback in football. And who's his offensive coordinator? Ben Johnson.
How long has Ben Johnson been the OC for?
At least 2 years. He might be his 3rd year.
Since Campbell maybe took over?
I'm pretty sure it was Jim Bob Cooter or somebody's Cooter before that.
Okay.
So in 1 minute time, you said Jared Goff really quickly, and then you said Cooter, and I'm just saying might need to clean it up. It's a family show, right?
I am just saying. He's asked how long he was the OC for.
Yeah.
And I just threw out there because I thought it was kind of funny. But He turned Jared Goff into a guy who the Rams had given up on, to a statistically and wins-wise is a top 5 quarterback. The Rams are 12-4 in their last 16 games.
Mm-hmm.
All right? Amon-Ra St. Brown was a guy who was...
Thank you.
Thank you, Naomi. Amon-Ra St. Brown was a guy who was drafted in the 2nd or 3rd round, had 6-7 different receivers in the draft drafted over him. He has a list of who those receivers are. Guess who's the best receiver in that draft? If not,
what year was that? 2020?
2020. If he's not the number 1, he's definitely the number 2. And he's a bona fide number 1.
Who was drafted in 20? Oh, Jefferson.
Okay, so he might be number 2 then. But we'd have to look up that draft class to be 100% accurate.
Yeah.
But the point of me saying all this is they traded T.J. Hawkinson.
Mm-hmm.
They rolled with
Oh, Chase was number 1.
Okay. If we're talking about the right draft class. But let me get back to my point. They traded away T.J. Hawkinson, who's the highest paid tight end in the league. They went with a tight end by committee, and they drafted Sam Laporta this year. Sam Laporta is already a top 5 tight end in fantasy.
Yeah, he looks really good.
They let Jamal Williams go, the number 1 rushing touchdown leader in the league.
Yeah.
They bring in David Montgomery. David Montgomery already had as many touchdowns this year with the Lions as he did with the Bears last year.
How many does he have? 5?
5 already.
3 in one game, but
three,
still, yeah.
three.
It does not matter.
It does not matter, though.
The point is
does
how
add
he's
up.
using his players, and the point is that he's getting more out of players that people saw as, we can let you go. Nope, come on here.
That's a good
Put
point.
you guys together, and we're good.
And let me ask you something. Do you think Montgomery? To me, Montgomery was an average running back, maybe a little bit above average, right? If the Bears kept him, do you think the Bears would have been better?
No.
To me, he's a plouder.
He was one player
he's good
out
at
of
what he's
11 that wasn't the problem.
Yeah.
Okay, that's true, but he wasn't special in my opinion.
So, with running backs nowadays, the way they use the running back
Because
position,
all these Bears fans love him.
No.
They're in love with him. I'm like, bro, it wouldn't have made a difference.
Well, see, the reason why Bears fans are in love with Montgomery is because the Bears, which we need to freaking get over, is we are not a running team and a defensive team anymore. That's not today's NFL.
Mm-hmm.
It's not. David Montgomery did a great job. You never tackle David Montgomery on first contact. David Montgomery, to the best of his ability, showed up every day and played.
He was durable. He was reliable.
Very durable.
Yeah.
Hurt, sore.
Mandatory Montgomery. That guy was solid.
Yeah. So the Bears would not be better with him because he's not a Christian McCaffrey. He's not a LaDainian Tomlinson.
McCaffrey looks so good.
He's not a Kamara when he first came out. He's not, Le'Veon Bell before he went off the rails. There's only a handful of players at the running back position that are like, that dude is a difference maker for the team.
Is that who we are now, Phil? We just light up heaters right in front of everyone, no matter what.
I'm enjoying myself,
and then you're just like after it now.
I'm enjoying myself listening to Hervey. Hervey has a lot of good things to say.
No, you're spot on, Hervey. I like what you're saying. And
Hervey, how good does McCaffrey look?
Before Phil goes on his McCaffrey bromance, real quick here.
I don't have him in fantasy, so I'm not in the bromance.
Let's keep cuddling up with the Lions, the cuddly Lions, and
cuddly Lions.
Let's talk about Jameson Williams.
Oh man!
All right, so we're at that.
He's got a gambling problem, like us.
So we already like him. So
he was fitting well with players.
Yes.
Where's Jameson Williams?
Hey, Jameson.
On the line now.
Yeah.
If you're listening to us, Jameson Williams, give us a call right now.
Yeah. Number 5 on the horse.
Yes. So no, Jameson, and that's another thing they did. I believe, his rookie year, he was drafted injured, and they rolled the dice on him. The Lions have rolled dice with their first round picks the last couple of years of Bama players. Gibbs was a running back, drafted him high.
They traded up for Jameson, right? Is that his name, Jameson Williams?
I believe so, and he was injured. So I expect big things out of him. He only played in a couple games last year because he was coming off a torn ACL.
Yep.
And he scored a touchdown for sure. And I think he had another game where he had like 3 or 4 catches, and that's good for a guy who had not, as a rookie, had not been, acclimated to the offense. I think he's going to be very well.
You heard about the preseason and like how he wasn't doing well, like not getting separation. He just looked really off. Did you? This year, I'm talking about.
No, I did
just
not.
out of shape or what?
I don't think he was out of shape, but like he was definitely distracted by betting on the Cubs or something.
Maybe it was like Phil after betting on UFC.
Well,
and he was a little hungover.
Yeah, well, who knows what the reasons, but like I said, the speed of the game as a rookie as from college to being a rookie is different. There's Detroit signed 2 good corners in Sutton and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, or excuse me, C.J.D. Johnson Gardner. And they're going to make it tough for you in practice every day.
Yeah.
And, I like Jameson's upside. I think he's going to be good for that offense. He's going to stretch the offense better. I'm hoping he comes back. I have Jared Goff as my quarterback, and he has been for the first 4 weeks. Luckily, I'm still winning despite him being so I need him to be that deep threat that will stretch the offense for Detroit. And I'm going to go to another guy who's been an amazing early player, Sam Laporta. He's
been really good.
He's the guy teams wish they can draft.
Second round
in the NFL. Iowa produces all tight ends.
Greg Kittle. Not Greg.
Yes, George Kittle.
George Kittle. Sorry.
George Kittle. Noah Fant.
Noah Fant.
T.J.
had a good
Hockenson.
game Monday.
T.J. Hockenson. All these guys are Iowa tight ends. And Sam Laporta's just keeping that tradition alive.
From the Chiefs several years ago.
So, so that's a breakout player.
Who the fuck is that?
He didn't make it really big time.
Yeah, anyways, let's move on.
So who do we have outside of Sam Laporta who has been
a good tight end?
Or no, just early season Flowers.
Zay Flowers, yes.
Just Flowers in general. And Zay Flowers is the guy who's been Flowers,
Just Flowers in general.
Just Flowers in general, yeah.
Yeah. No,
Are you talking about rookies? that have been producing,
just we're talking fantasy. So.
just early.
Harvey, what do you mean just Flowers in general?
No, Flowers mean like you draft them and they're blooming. They're doing good things for you early on.
Beautiful metaphor. Thank you.
I'm trying to think of someone. Well, the guy from the Rams. My goodness.
What is it? Puka Nua? How do you even say his name?
I don't know. He's Samoan. He's
Yes.
probably from The Rock.
I know.
From Tonga.
Out of BYU. They are literally using him like they use Cooper Kupp.
Yeah.
All right. So Sam Laporta, on my two teams.
Yeah, we're talking about Laporta.
I drafted him on both of my teams because
Good for
I'm an
you,
excellent
Dave.
scout.
Good for you, Dave. You're a
Suck
genius.
it.
I picked fucking Kyle Pitts, your cousin, and he has as many catches as us, and we don't even play.
All right, so let's hold on. Okay, so before we get to disappointments, okay, let's continue with the guys who have been breaking.
Well, we
out.
talked about the Bears.
We talked about that's enough disappointment for the night. Talking about the Bears.
Did we ever talk about Jameson Williams?
We talked about Jameson Williams.
Did we say whether we like him or not?
Yeah,
He's got the talent. They traded up for him,
in terms of fantasy,
and he's gambling his future.
in terms of fantasy
We
status,
got to the point where he's one of us. We get that. Yeah.
I don't like him per se as like a everyday reliable fantasy player. I gotta see him as a fill-in terms of once the bye weeks hit in.
Because he's gambling.
Okay,
He's a boomer bust.
he's a boomer bust.
That's the definition of gambling for us, at least. We're either boom or bust.
Yeah, okay.
More times bust.
So he's a guy you might want to have there on your bench, and so when you get your regular wide receivers, your reliable wide receivers on bye weeks. Mm-hmm. But I don't see him turning into an everyday lineup player.
But let's say this
Not
real
this
quick.
year.
Let's say
but
this
eventually,
real quick.
long term.
He's available now. He'll be available. He's available now, and so
What do you mean he's available right now?
he's available to pick up from waiver wires
No,
right
there's
now.
there's a lot of bad owners out there that have him like sitting on the bench. Like
No, I'm sorry. He's available to pick up from the waiver wire right now, meaning he's not suspended anymore. You can pick him up right now.
Well,
yes,
he was always
but
able to be
I'm-
picked up, but now
yeah,
he's able to actually play.
He's eligible to play. Okay,
Oh,
that's what I meant.
eligible to play. Is that what you meant? Because there's a lot of teams, a lot of leagues that I know that have him like just sitting there because the talent's there.
And that's my point. Shouldn't he be rostered in every freaking league because of that?
I'm pretty
speed
sure he
has?
is. I'm not Matthew Berry. I don't know every
10
league.
team leagues, he's not rostered.
You don't think so?
10 leagugues.
Depends on the bench.
No, the waiver wire is so deep, or it's so deep. It's not even.
Well, not in a 12-team league.
12-team leagues, he should be rostered. 14-team leagues, he definitely should be rostered.
Yeah.
But yes, if he's not rostered, you definitely pick him up. You definitely pick him up.
I want to bring up a Rocky story. It's fantasy related. This motherfucker in the 8th round drafted. I'm not even saying his name right, by the way.
What story is this?
This is my friend Rocky.
A random
Hervey's
fantasy story.
yeah. He's a high school buddy. Hervey knows him as well. He's terrible at fantasy football. Every year he donates his money to his league.
I love those guys.
And like you would think after like 15 to 20 years of drafting he would understand what to do, and he just seems to hit a new low every year. Seems like it. He drafted CD Lamb at number 8 when Tyreek Hill was there, and his reasoning okay, so his reason was, I didn't know Tyreek Hill was available because it was a live draft. And, oh my god, I was so embarrassed.
You're talking about this year?
Yeah, this year.
I wouldn't have picked Tyreek Hill at number 8. I mean, hindsight.
Well, this is why you lose. This is why you lose.
I'm effing good. So
you would draft CD Lamb over Tyreek Hill? Tyreek Hill was
no. Keep going. I thought we already talked about this. I would draft a running back.
This is the first league I saw Tyreek Hill drop to 10 in a league. In a league this year, full PPR.
Well, we talked about it, and some of my players who I have a good feeling about have not panned out. But it's all about your gut sometimes. We're telling stories right now, so I'll tell a story that happened this year.
Well, let me finish this. So
okay,
I have to finish the story. So he picked CD Lamb over Tyreek Hill, right? In the 8th round. So the next 6, 7 picks, decent, nothing wrong. He got DJ Moore in the 4th round. I thought that was a good pick. DJ Moore, as bad as the Bears are, he's looked pretty good in 2 games in the full PPR league. He got St. Brown in the 2nd round. I have no issues with that. In the 8th round, he's like desperate for running backs, right? Stevenson and B.J. Robinson was his.
Bijan Robinson.
No, B.J. The guy from the Redskins. I'm sorry,
Brian Robinson.
Brian Robinson. Mm-hmm. Whatever. He has those 2 running backs, right? In the 8th round, this motherfucker decides to pick Devon Achane or A-Chain.
Wow.
All right?
Wow.
And I'm like,
what round?
8th round. 8th round in a 12-team league.
Probably should have been more like
2 picks
12th
later.
Round, but okay.
2 picks later, Raheem Morstead goes. I'm like, what the fuck are you doing? He's like, bro, Raheem's gonna get hurt, but that's not how you draft in fantasy. You draft the starter
according to the value.
You draft the starter according to the value, and you could have got him probably in
one of the last 2 rounds.
One of the last 2 rounds or undrafted. Like, you have to think that way. Even if you think that guy's going to get hurt, why would you do that?
Sometimes people think unorthodox, and it's working out for him.
And it makes me sick because it shouldn't work that way. He's 2-2, okay? But, like, it's mind-boggling that he would do something like that. Like, I almost think that he does this purposely. Like, some guys, I think, actually play fantasy football just to get, like, a laugh or, like, hey, look at me. Like, I'm gonna raise some eyebrows in a bad way. And just, I don't know. But anyways.
As a long shot gamble?
I mean, and then this guy comes out of nowhere, has 50 points in the Denver game? That was off script because they were up so much. They were running the ball. And Denver decided, hey, we're not going to stop anyone. We're just going to let you keep running.
But then he came back the very next week and
had a very good day.
He still had and I'm like, okay, maybe I missed on him. Just like the Rams, the wide receiver for the Rams. Because I thought Stafford wasn't going to be good this year. I honestly thought that. But here...
You are no longer angry, Phil. You're now broken record, Phil.
And then, like me, I'm drafting, guys that I think are going to pop off. Like Cam Akers in the 5th round, I thought was great value. Then I got J.K. Dobbins in the 6th round. Cam Akers in the doghouse for whatever fucking reason. He probably fucked Sean McVay's wife or something, and that's why
She's a smoke show.
And then J.K. Dobbins, of course.
I've not seen Sean McVay's wife.
She's
gorgeous.
a smoke show.
Yeah, Akers finished the season strong, right?
Yeah.
They finally give him. He's finally healthy. Gets all the touches. He was like, I don't know, top 3 in fantasy for the final 6-7 weeks.
Probably, yeah.
From the momentum was going on there. I don't even know his backup. I didn't even care. I thought I got great value. And then I get J.K. Dobbins, and he gets hurt in the first game, out for the year. Of course, Dobbins, that's what he does, And then I hear the Cam Akers story, and then fucking guys like Rocky are picking this gypsy running back who had a shoulder injury.
Did you just call him a gypsy running back?
Yeah, he's a gypsy running back. He was hurt in the preseason. They have Jeff Wilson Jr. They have Raheem Morstead. right? And then I'm the one that's getting fucked. Like, it just makes no sense. That's why I hate fantasy. I shouldn't even fucking do it anymore. It's so stupid.
This
It's
is
not for the
literally your
logical.
8th segment on fantasy
Yeah,
football,
because
and now you're telling us
it's
you hate it.
annoying. It's annoying to see idiots like this. And he's not even winning. He's 2-2. He has one more. He has 2 more wins than the Bears, and 1 more win than me. So, I mean, you can continue. I'm just
Tell us how
annoyed.
you really feel, Phil.
I'm just really annoyed. It's just like nothing goes right. And Kyle Pitts.
No shit. That's why you're angry.
Kyle Pitts has 6 catches for like 19 yards in the 4 games. He gets no targets. You put him in Kansas City. Shit, you put him on the Bears. Like, he would get targets and receiving yards.
So full disclosure, I did draft Sam Laporta in both of my leagues, but I drafted him in the very last round of both of my leagues.
Oh my god, I feel
picked him
terrible
within the
hearing.
very
I feel
last.
awful hearing this.
But I'm that guy that I do go out and I kind of project.
You don't have any
I want to have a
fucking
backup.
projections.
I want to have a backup, and I picked up. I called them in our first segment. I called them Okinawa. It's not Okinawa from Tennessee.
I don't even know who the fuck that is.
Okinawu or
Yeah, I know
Okonkwo. Okonkwo.
Is this guy in the NFL still?
And you should look him up. He's a freak athlete. He's great. He's kind of like Kyle Pitts. And actually, he's performing like Kyle Pitts, which means I ended up benching his ass real quick.
What
and
team
I put
does
it
he
in
play
Laporta.
for? What team does he play for? Seattle?
Tennessee.
Tennessee.
How do you not know him?
Oh, is this the guy from Maryland? 6'2", tight end, fast.
You might have to look him up. I know of him
How do you
because
guys
he
not
had.
know him?
I know of him because he had a decent end of the season last year.
I'm pretty sure he was from Maryland. Yeah, I know who you're talking about. Yeah,
He's going to be a sleeper pick. We're talking about ultimately.
Well, he's sleeping right now. So yes.
He's just sleeping right now. And
Just like
ultimately,
Kyle
this
Pitts.
segment is about fantasy football and what picks you make mid-season or early season or trades that you might want to make. I want to go out and I want to try to make a trade for Gibbs.
3-2 now.
What game are you watching?
Diamondbacks, Brewers, absolute garbage.
What'd you bet? Was it total bases?
I
Let me
took
guess.
no. I took the Brewers minus 1.5. I should take myself minus 1.5.
1.5 less beers, 1.5 less.
Phil takes
shots.
himself on the spread.
Oh, goodness
The
gracious.
spread Phil. I like it. So Okonkwo is definitely a guy. Keep your eye on him.
Who?
Put
The tight end from
if you're on
Tennessee?
ESPN League, mark interested. If you're in Yahoo, mark watch list. Whatever you need to do, just mark it down and keep an eye on him and see if he continues to progress upward. The other guy I want to talk about in this segment, ultimately, Arizona Cardinals. Michael, who's the wide receiver? Who's
Michael Wilson.
Wilson? Michael Wilson?
Yeah.
He's off to a pretty.
I don't think
hot
that's
start.
who you're talking about. I think you're talking about Marquise Brown.
No, I'm not. No,
You're talking about Michael Wilson?
yeah, I'm talking about deeper stuff.
Michael Wilson's deeper?
Oh no, he was
He
on.
had one good game.
Well, yeah, but he was on the radar, so that's what we're talking about. We're talking about players that we can see, projecting going forward. That
Why are we talking about Arizona?
We're talking about all NFL fantasy.
I'm pretty shocked Arizona's like they.
Are you guys watching Blondes on TikTok again?
No.
No,
Arizona has looked competent.
no, and that's due to coaching, and that's due to putting their players in the right spot. James Conner's up to-
The coach is furious right now. Thinking he's like, you guys were supposed to lose. Like, I need Caleb Williams.
Yeah, but
You think
also-
Sean Payton was really happy in the locker room after you beat the Bears? He's like, you motherfucker, Russell. I told you I'll trade you to another situation. I want Caleb Williams, and you guys are going to do this to me.
possibly.
Why is Denver so bad right now? Why are they so bad?
Because they don't give a fuck.
Russell Wilson's underperforming. Get
No,
it?
he's not.
Is
I
he?
don't think Wilson's underperforming.
In fantasy, he's actually performing pretty well.
Yeah, no, for
So that means he's doing pretty well, like, live, I think.
No, I think the reason why Denver is struggling so much is because their offensive line isn't the best. They don't have a consistent run game. Javonte Williams is already hurt.
Oh, I thought we were done talking about the Bears. And Hervey, I hate to interrupt you, but this is one of those nights I have to blow up a little bit. Like, isn't every team's offensive line an issue? It seems like it. There's only like 5 teams
Not
with
the
good
Browns.
offensive line. Yeah, but they're not scoring. I mean, I feel like every team has offensive line issues. I think the defense has finally caught up with the offense in the NFL right now.
So I sent I sent both of you a text.
Right
saying
now?
Danny Dimes deserves better.
Who the fuck
And-
is Danny Dimes?
Oh, stop.
Daniel Jones.
Oh my God.
And Hervey replies back, Daniel Jones is trash or something.
No,
like
you said he was a bum.
He's a
because
bum.
you probably had the over 250.
The bum was right next to the
passing
trash
yards like
can.
I
get
did.
it. Yeah.
No, I probably did have a bet on him, but he's a terrible quarterback.
Is he terrible or is it the line?
I think it's the line. And if you
That
put
line
Daniel
is-
Jones on the
Kirby, that
Cleveland
line
Browns
isn't
team,
giving him fucking a
Yahtzee.
chance to do anything. Like,
I'm going to end it at this, okay? Daniel Jones has 49 completions in his last 2 games. Mm-hmm. And he hasn't even thrown for 350 yards. That is less than 7 yards in completion. His last game on Monday night, he threw the ball 2 times. 2 times. Past 10 yards. I'm sorry. That's a combination of coaching and it's a combination of quarterback play. Luckily for my brother, because we were talking about fantasy, was going against Daniel Dimes. Daniel
you started
Jones.
him?
No, the person who was going against started him was going against Daniel Jones and Darren Waller. And
Waller sucks too.
on the pick 6, Darren Waller was wide open in the back of the end zone. And Daniel Jones decided to throw the hot route. Pick 6. That's the player. I'm sorry, you can say he's good, you can say he's better.
not good.
You can say he's better than what he is, has around him, but
He's going to get Brian DeBall fired.
the man's no good.
You think Brian DeBall is going to get fired?
No, he is job security. It's only his 2nd year as a coach, and they made the playoffs.
He
last year.
made him look like a competent quarterback last year. How does your line get this bad after making the playoffs? Like, Daniel Jones looked like a competent quarterback. That's why they gave him all that money. Thank God they only guaranteed the first 2 years. Mm-hmm. But they definitely, like, in my opinion, they did what they had to do because they didn't have a high draft pick. I guarantee if the ball had a high draft pick, he would have gotten another quarterback. Sometimes you got to do what's best available at that time, You're not going to just get rid of Daniel Jones for nothing if you don't have a replacement. It's kind of like what the Bulls did with, like, Levine. Like, you can't just let him go even though you know he's not a star. You know what I mean? Sometimes you got to do what's best for the team in that sense.
No,
And I appreciate that, Angry Phil. Go ahead, Phil or Hervey. You got a thought?
I 100% agree with
Yeah.
that because he signed a 4-year contract, but essentially it's only a 2-year contract.
Yes, indeed.
So there was a guy like Hayden Hooker out there who played for the Tennessee Volunteers, was having a great season, and was in the running for Heisman before he tore his ACL. He's basically done for this year. Why would you not take a flyer on a guy like that, get him into camp, and see what he has, and then he probably won't be the guy starting next year either. But then if you see upside with him, then all of a sudden, all right, Daniel Jones, thank you for the 2 years. We have the guy who's going to replace you. But they don't even do that.
I'm just focused on this fucking Arizona Brewers game. God, man, almighty.
Oh, Phil needs that game really bad, it seems.
Phillies are up to. Is there anything you
What's
want to
the
talk about?
updates?
Caleb Williams look awesome. He's an enjoyment.
Caleb Williams is the real deal. What stands out to me right now is Georgia's struggling, but they're finding ways to win football games. USC's defense is awful, but they're finding a way to win football games
Yeah.
because of Caleb Williams. Ohio State's struggling, but they're finding a way to win football games. That game they won against Notre Dame, most people can say they should not have won.
You think so?
Yeah.
There's no one team that stands out. I think this is the most open. Because Bama's having a down year. This might be the most open race for college football.
But I think college football, they're still at 4 teams getting in right now. I think if they were to start today, it's Georgia, Michigan, USC, and maybe Oklahoma. I know those are 4 of the top teams. Oklahoma looks very, very good. They have Dylan Gabriel as their quarterback.
He played for Central Florida, right?
Yes, UCF.
And he's the one with the knee injury.
Yes, he tore.
Wow.
Yeah, he had a very bad knee injury.
Yep.
Good job, Phil. Good recollection.
Yeah.
And
I probably bet on him. That's why I remember.
He's a very good person to bet his passing yards over for prop bets. He's hit 2 times in the first half. But
Not that Syracuse quarterback.
Yeah. Oh God, don't get me started. But
You always have to add some fucking gypsy quarterback from a bad team.
What's up with
Bad
you and the
joint.
gypsies?
I just like that fucking word right now. That's the word of the night. I feel like a gypsy. Fucking
Did some
Bears.
Romanian chick dump you?
They're all gypsies. Everybody's a gypsy right now. My bets are gypsy. The Brewers are fucking terrible.
yeah, but outside of Georgia, all the and Michigan, I guess you could say, those are obviously the 1-2 right now.
Mm-hmm.
All the other good teams seem to have defensive issues. So Alabama struggling big time.
Alabama's more offensive
Yeah.
issues, right? Or no?
Yeah, Florida State had a very good win week 1, and then they struggled against Clemson but pulled one out. That's a team that a lot of people are high on. I can't say I am right now. Clemson has 2 losses already. I just think college football is a wait and see, but that's why we love it, because every single game in college football is essentially a playoff game.
Yes.
You lose, you're pretty much done.
That's why it's fun.
Yeah.
So let's flip it over to from a betting side, gambling side.
Okay.
Do we want to? Duke lost a close one last week, right?
We're talking
That
basketball?
was good. That was good. College football, right? That's what.
Yeah. Notre Dame scored. They gave up. Duke gave up
But Duke gave it
a
up.
walk-off touchdown. Well, almost a walk-off touchdown. Running touchdown, like 40 yards. Like
Sorry, Duke lost, right?
Duke did lose.
Yeah.
Yes. They gave up a touchdown in the last minute, and
I drink a lot, so I'm not all sure. I'm like, I
Yeah.
think they lost, but
Yeah.
So, is that someone you want to keep throwing money on moving forward?
No.
I was pretty impressed with what they did.
It's one of those things where I think with gambling anywhere across the board, but more specifically with college football, follow the freaking trends. Don't be scared to lay points. You know, we see 20-something points out there, we get scared. But Duke competed with Clemson, beat them outright, competed with Notre Dame, 2 top 25 teams, 2 top 15 teams. They could be a team that you want to put your money on, but also check their opponent, check their tendencies, check their home and away. You got to do your research with these teams.
Yeah.
Gambling's hard. You know, anybody who does it recreationally to make a profit as a living, they'll tell you that. What makes sense doesn't make sense. One of the advice that I've noticed, look and see the games of teams that may have a weaker opponent, like a 2 touchdown to 3 touchdown line, and then see who they play the following week. For example, if USC, they had Colorado the following week. They were a 34-point favorite. They beat Arizona State by a touchdown. They were looking ahead. No, I'm just saying because there's money out there to be had on like what perceives to be, you know, not so obvious. Yeah, 34-point spread's a 34-point spread, but if a team knows they're superior, they're going to want to get through that game, you know, uninjured, you know, and they know they have a good opponent coming up. Who doesn't want to come out and shine against Colorado right now? So I wish I would have done that. And I noticed it's happened a couple other times, you know, like Georgia just out barely covered against Auburn. Look for road dogs too, home underdogs too, especially in conference. You just got to make sure that you're trying to look the right way to get the best value for your buck when it comes to college football. But if you see a team, you know, that is just playing well, like Michigan, for example, just bet them. You know, if you see a team like Oklahoma that's playing well, just bet them. Mm-hmm. You know, and if you lose, you lose. But 2 out of 3 times, you're gonna win, and there's nothing wrong with that. Anybody would take 2 out of 3 times.
Oklahoma looked really good against Iowa State.
Yeah, they start off early with a struggling, but then it was a 19-point spread, and they were up by 3 scores by halftime.
Yeah.
So,
I agree. College, I will tell you this, Hervey. This is the point I want to make. NFL is complete garbage. I'm not betting on spreads anymore. Like, it's so bad. Like, I had...
So wait, now you hate fantasy football and NFL.
No, it's just, you know, like, the parity in NFL has gotten to an all-time high and it keeps getting worse. Like, I wouldn't. Okay, I know the Texans have looked good. C.J. Stroud's still a rookie, still playing with backup offensive linemen, right?
He's looking real good, yeah.
Yeah, and then Pittsburgh goes there, right? They just won a big game, right? And they laid a fucking egg.
Yeah.
You know, and the Bengals too won a big Monday night game.
Yeah.
Burrows is hurt, I know. He's playing through it, but I would still think they can beat Tennessee. I know it's at Tennessee, right? And these guys are getting destroyed. I'm like, I couldn't believe it. It's unbelievable.
No, it's just goes back to gambling.
Mind-boggling.
Gambling's a tough thing to do, especially when you have these teams that are like perceived to be the superior team, and they come out and they struggle. Every team, especially the teams that are up and coming or teams that are like in transition, they're coming out there putting forth their best effort too.
Yeah,
and it's tough. You know,
it's rough. I've seen some really messed up stuff.
Where have you won your money so far? Okay, let's talk about good things. Holy shit.
Props.
If we're going to talk about strictly gambling right now, I've transitioned. I do my best to look at every angle in terms of total, money line, spread, player props, because the way gambling is now, there's so many different ways to make money.
Mm-hmm.
I'll just use, for example, week 1, I bet Deion Jackson over receiving yards. He's a running back for the Colts.
Not anymore.
Yeah, not anymore. He might be a healthy scratch going forward. But last season against the Jaguars, he had 13 receptions. And then it pops up when I click on receiving yards for that game, Deion Jackson over 9.5 receiving yards. I said, in what world is that not going to hit? Because he had 13 receptions last year against this team. I like to track the tendencies of a team and if they give up yards to running back, wide receivers, or tight end, whatever position group they struggle against. And he was getting the bulk load of the work because Zach Moss wasn't back yet. He had 2 catches for 15 yards in the first half. I cashed my ticket before halfway through the first half.
Hervey, let me ask you something. Because you've been really onto this, like, I know how you like to gamble. Like, I know, like, you like to find those, obscure players that because you watch a lot with right?
Players who are going to get 70,
with the low totals and stuff. Yeah. I actually followed your strategy.
All about volume.
Not necessarily volume. It's the opportunity to be on the field a lot, and then
it's not volume.
Yes, no, that's volume. But you can also take volume as they get the ball a lot too.
Okay.
But you don't necessarily have to get the ball a lot because, like Phil said, I like to bet
low totals.
No,
guys that are not name brand players exactly. So like attainable, because if you watch the game carefully and what kind of script of an offense they are, guys that play a lot of snaps that will get targets. You find gems like those types of bets.
Like I love to do running back receiving yards. Each week I find one running back and I put my money on him. My limit, like whatever I consider to be like my highest bet. And
whatever's left in the account.
Not necessarily that, but I've at least hit one of those every week. But then
because they're never high.
No.
Most running backs, except if you're McCaffrey.
Yeah, and then high being 30 yards too.
Yeah, that is very high.
Yeah.
And here we go, back to McCaffrey. Go ahead, Phil. Give us 30 seconds about how you feel about McCaffrey.
He's great. I mean, God, he's putting up a lot of points, and God, I wish I had a top pick. And
do you have a poster in your room?
No, I don't have a poster.
Christian McCaffrey to me is
the best running back ever.
No, when healthy.
Marshall Faulk 2.0.
No, when healthy, he's the single greatest fantasy football player ever.
Better than Marshall Faulk?
That's a strong
Marshall
statement.
Faulk was fucking great.
Christian McCaffrey had 1,000 yards receiving and 1,000 yards running. I think Marshall Faulk may have done that also.
Wait, when did McCaffrey have 1,000 in both categories?
Either his first or second year in the league.
Yeah, but that was like 7 years ago, though.
And then
what are you talking about?
He's been in the league for 6-7 years, right?
About 6-7 years.
McCaffrey has?
Yeah.
God, has it been that long?
Yeah, he played with Cam Newton.
Yeah, we're old.
Yeah. But when healthy, the man, he's a walking 25.
Not to mention he plays for a great coach.
Yeah.
A running favorable
line,
coach.
A great line.
Yeah. He's scored in 14 straight games.
That's ridiculous.
And the man's unreal when it comes to putting the ball in the end zone. And he's not durable because he gets such a heavy workload. But I think he's under the right coach now. They're going to maximize.
Kyle Shanahan is a great coach.
They're going to maximize him to get him 20 and 25 touches and not put him in harm's way.
And I honestly think that's the reason why they're okay with letting Trey Lance go, because Brock Purdy can do the basic stuff that, he's not a special
He can hand off the ball just as well as Lance.
But no, it's like it helps with development of a quarterback. You got a great running back, great offensive line, good receivers. It helps with the development of a quarterback. He was the last pick of the draft.
No. And there was nothing special about Trey Lance to begin with, so. But, yeah. So, no, fantasy right now is, I think some of the good guys are doing well. All the top players, I think, drafted outside of Jamar Chase, who have not gotten injured, have been performing. Kelsey's fine. McCaffrey's fine. Justin Jefferson's amazing. Mm-hmm. He's like Julio Jones 2.0.
He's so good.
Literally 150 yards, 8 catches, doesn't get you in the end zone. He still gets you 25 points. So,
this is a good topic that I wanted to talk about. Go through the first round draft picks. Mm-hmm. Hindsight's 2020. Who are the biggest blow-ups in the first round? The biggest regrets?
No, I think everything's been fine except for outside of injury.
Yeah. Chubb was looking good.
Chubb was looking great. Saquon was looking fine before being injured. Eckler was looking great before being injured. It's just bad luck. You draft Cooper Kupp in the first round, he gets hurt.
Yep.
You draft Austin Eckler in the first round, he gets hurt. Nick Chubb late first round, he gets hurt. That's just the tough thing right now in terms of.
I do want to chime in here. The one first round pick that I was unsure about, that a lot of people had different opinions, that I thought was risky, was Tony Pollard.
He seems to
coming off a major injury, and I know he's looked good with the touches he got with Zeke, because Zeke got most of the touches, but Tony Pollard, 10 to 15, he got you a lot of points, right? And so now he's the lead back in this team, right? He's the number one guy. They don't have a clear number two, coming off a major injury and stuff. Like, I've seen a lot of running backs where, like, they do so well as a complimentary running back, but then you push them into the
lead role,
and then they fall apart.
Yeah. Like, there's an example with Pollard, who's doing fantastic, coming off an injury too, right? Yeah. And then you have someone like Manson.
Yeah.
And then you have someone like Herbert from the Bears.
Yep. Who is Pollard's backup? That might be a good pickup.
I'm not going to say because I might need him. I don't want people to know, but
you're worried about the other 13 people in your league
that may or may not watch. About. No, it's Dwindle.
I think it's Rico Dowdle.
Okay, so I'm wrong.
No,
I was thinking of Spencer Dwindle
or Spencer Dinwiddie. Fantasy basketball's coming soon.
I am bad with names.
Fantasy basketball's coming soon, But NBA's coming soon. No, Tony Pollard's doing amazing, and he's doing so well that some people,
explosive.
Some people who drafted Brandon Cooks or CeeDee Lamb or even Dak Prescott are not too happy with what they've done so far.
Yeah.
But that's because Mike McCarthy's a run-first coach, and if Tony Pollard's delivering, he's going to keep giving him the ball. But he's doing a guy who was drafted late in the first round who's living up to the bill. I think all the guys in the first round that were projecting that were drafted, outside of the guys who have been hurt, have been perfectly fine. I drafted CeeDee Lamb late in the first round. I had the 12th pick out of 14.
That's a great pick. See, 12 and 9 is different.
Yeah.
Right, Rocky?
It's different, but he went with his gut. But leaving Tyreek Hill on the board.
But I'll tell you this: CeeDee Lamb has gotten fucked over the last couple of weeks because of the script of the game. Like they're up a lot,
or the scoreboard. Yes.
And that's where it kills you. Like I give shit about Rocky with his pick with CeeDee Lamb over Tyreek Hill. I mean, Tyreek Hill had two great games and two not shitty games, but not Tyreek Hill the 15 at least minimum. Like he had this past Sunday he had 9 points, I think. So yeah, like I was saying, it's I feel like it's very hard to find guys that are consistently from game to game are very consistent. Like the ceiling, I think there's like a lower version of a boom or bust in some ways. Like, so when people think of boom or bust, they think of like 20, 30 points one game, and then like 2, 3 the next game. There's guys that go like 20, 15, and then the next game they go like 7, 6. There's a lower version of that as well.
There's a lot of guys that do 18 and 2.
Yeah.
Like all or nothing.
I got the 6 pick in a half PPR league in my work league, and I was very happy that I got Tyreek Hill. But I mean, he had 2 mediocre games and stuff. That didn't help. So but it is what it is.
You can't be upset about that when he has the
No.
2 games where he gets you 50. So
Okay, so before we wrap it up on the fantasy segment here, any other big guys who are major disappointments that you still have faith in, the Kyle Pitts of the world? You think he's going to turn it around, go get him,
No.
or leave that dude behind? It's not
I'm
going
gonna
to
say
work this
no.
year.
No, I'm sorry. It might be me because I said this out in front. Desmond Ridder sucks.
Yep. Very limited.
Daniel Jones sucks.
Yep.
Okay. Darren Waller has not been off to a good start. Kyle Pitts has not been off to a good start. Drake London has not been off to a good start. Everybody, we're in Chicago, said DJ Moore is so good. He's going to be amazing with the Bears because he had nobody to throw to. These guys don't have anybody to throw to. And at some point, if these guys want to compete, meaning these guys mean these coaches, you have to get your best players to football.
Yes.
Okay, so I have Kyle Pitts. All right, I have not benched him. I drafted him in the 5th round. I have a golden rule of my own. If you draft a guy in the 5th round, you play him every week.
What's your record right now?
3-1.
Damn, really?
Yeah.
You talk like as if you're 0-4.
Phil, you?
I am 1-3.
I would hate fantasy football too.
I don't hate it. I just think I'm getting fucked over many times.
Well, fantasy football is all about matchups. I did get lucky week 1. I squeaked out a low-scoring victory, but since then I've averaged 130. I have a lot of consistency on my team.
I haven't even hit 120.
My trade panned out that I made before the season started. It's working well for me.
You had a
right now.
trade before the season started?
Yeah.
This was in between the
That's
draft.
rare. I've never heard of that.
I've never heard of that.
Well,
My draft is like one day before the season starts, so that's impossible.
yeah. Well, ours was only a week before.
Are you talking about the Pool Oaks League?
Yes.
Who'd you trade? I'm curious.
My trade was I drafted Josh Jacobs in the 2nd round.
Yeah.
I was not fond of him at all.
You were right until this past weekend.
Yeah. Well, he struggled the first couple, and then he's starting to get it together. He's Josh Jacobs.
Yeah.
But then when my draft was done, my receivers were CeeDee Lamb, Rondell Moore, and DJ Moore.
Jesus.
And then I was like, that's not going to cut it.
Yeah.
That's not going to cut it. And then I said, I got to get me a solid running back, and I got to get me a solid receiver. So I ended up drafting Darnell Mooney, and just with the hope, it has not obviously happened, that Justin Fields would break out. I'd have Mooney and Moore. And then once I heard all the things about the offense and, in practice, I'm like, gotta ship them. So I ended up trading Josh Jacobs and Darnell Mooney for Kenneth Walker and George Pickens.
Damn.
And Kenneth Walker is amazing.
One worked, one didn't.
But George Pickens is also another guy who I'm gonna double down on everything I said in the first podcast. Yeah. I'm doubling down. Mike Canada, whatever the hell this guy's name is.
Matt Canada.
I don't even know how he has a job in Pittsburgh right now. The man literally.
You think he's worse than Getsy?
They're in the same boat.
I heard rolling into the parking lot here that he set up a bot account. He set up a burner account to combat criticism on himself.
No fucking way.
Who did?
Matt Canada?
Canada.
Yeah, absolutely. No. So I've literally, the man, I don't get it. So he has Najee Harris, 1st round pick. George Pickens, 2nd round pick.
Who should be a first round.
Yeah, he was injured. Mm-hmm. Out of Georgia.
Deontay Johnson.
Kenny Pickett. Deontay Johnson's been hurt. He has Kenny Pickett, 1st round pick. Pat Freiermuth, top 5 tight end in fantasy last year. Mm-hmm. Okay? And then they cannot score more than 17 points a game. Their offensive line isn't terrible. And then the biggest thing about me, that's why I'm a George Pickens fan, Canada's getting fired soon. All right, Tomlin's being way too loyal. He's being way too freaking.
Yeah, but who's going to run the offense then? Because
It's-
Tomlin's not an offensive minded coach.
More so than Canada is.
You know where Mike McDaniel started? He started in the film room. He started as a freaking here you go.
Yeah,
DD.
but can Tomlin?